Right now on Good Morning America, first look, a mass shooting at a church in Utah, the manhunt for the gunman.
Protests in multiple cities after an immigration agent shoots and kills a woman in Minneapolis. What we're learning about the victim and the new video and witness accounts of those moments leading up to the fatal encounter.
New images of U.S. forces seizing more oil tankers, including a Russian-flagged vessel. What the Trump administration is now saying about the next step in controlling Venezuelan oil, and the growing backlash over a push to take over Greenland as Trump proposes a major increase in defense spending.
Plus, a bridge under construction collapses in West Virginia.
A new plan to lower home prices by blocking major investment firms from buying houses. Will it work?
Health Secretary RFK Jr. flips the food pyramid with new dietary guidelines, the new guidance on alcohol that's igniting controversy.
Later, NFL quarterback Trevor Lawrence describes being swatted by this fan at a bar.
And the simple grocery bag now being sold for $50,000.
From ABC News, this is Good Morning America, First Look.
Good Thursday morning, everyone. I'm Hannah Battah.
I'm Sophie Flay. We begin with breaking news from Salt Lake City, Utah. A deadly mass shooting outside a Mormon church.
Police say the shots rang out during a funeral last night. That violence stemming from an apparent dispute. Police say 8 people were shot, 2 killed, several others are in critical condition. Authorities say multiple suspects fled the scene. Witnesses say the victims include 4 members of the same family.
Everyone was coming into the church, and then all of a sudden gunshots started happening, and just all my cousins like yelling like, get up, call 911 pretty much, and that's what happened.
Police are investigating if the shooting is gang related.
Now to the protests in Minneapolis and across the country after an immigration agent shot and killed a woman on the street just blocks away from where George Floyd was killed in 2020. Schools in Minneapolis are closed today with the city on edge. We warn you, the video is disturbing.
Overnight, thousands gathering in Minneapolis for a vigil in memory of 37-year-old Renee Nicole Good, a local resident and mother shot and killed by an ICE agent.
No justice! No peace!
Polarized narratives are now forming about what led to her death. Her Honda SUV was parked in the street. She appears to motion to other vehicles to pass. But a truck stops and federal agents walk toward her, asking her to step out of the vehicle. She reverses, then puts the SUV in drive, and shots are fired. Played in slow motion, you can see the vehicle reverse to the left. As the SUV is put in drive, you can see an ICE agent standing in front on the driver's side. He draws his gun as the SUV moves forward. As the vehicle begins to move, its wheels pointed to the right, the agent fires his first shot. A moment later, the agent, now on the other side of the vehicle, fires 2 more shots. The SUV then travels down the street, crashing into a parked car. Here's a different angle. Some claim it shows the SUV making contact with the agent. President Trump saying it's hard to believe the agent survived. Video of the aftermath shows protesters yelling at the agent as he walks away.
Shame!
She was endeavoring to kind of adjust her car so that it was facing more south. Then the agent extended his arm and was holding a gun through the window of her car.
The Minneapolis City Council says Good was caring for her neighbors. But Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem says Good had been stalking and impeding law enforcement.
It was an act of domestic terrorism. They got stuck in the snow because of the adverse weather that is in Minneapolis. They were attempting to push out their vehicle, and a woman attacked them and those surrounding them and attempted to run them over and ram them with her vehicle. An officer of ours acted quickly and defensively.
But the mayor of Minneapolis sees it differently.
That they were immediately calling this an act of domestic terrorism by someone who made like a 3 or a 4-point turn, who was clearly trying to exit the situation, is ridiculous.
Earlier in the day, the mayor was visibly angry after President Trump suggested the agent was acting in self-defense.
Having seen the video of myself, I want to tell everybody directly, that is this was an agent recklessly using power that resulted in somebody dying, getting killed. To ICE, get the out of Minneapolis. We do not want you here.
The Homeland Security Department's policy says Use of deadly force must be objectively reasonable in light of the facts and circumstances, and an officer must have reasonable belief that the subject of such force poses an imminent threat of death or serious bodily injury.
We don't know why the officer who did the shooting was positioned where he was, and it's hard to tell from those camera angles exactly how close it was, but that's why we need an investigation.
After multiple ICE shootings in recent months, including a deadly shooting in Chicago in September, Secretary Noem now says she will ask the Justice Department to prosecute anyone who uses a vehicle to block immigration operations.
Good's mother says she was compassionate and took care of people all her life. The FBI is now investigating the shooting.
We have new video of U.S. forces seizing oil tankers linked to Venezuela, including one in the North Atlantic. Meantime, President Trump's push to take over Greenland is meeting resistance, even among Republicans on Capitol Hill. ABC's Christiane Cordero has the latest from Greenland and Venezuela. Christiane, good morning.
Hi, Hannah. Good morning. As the Trump administration faces growing opposition in its push for Greenland, it's defending its actions at sea, with the president now saying U.S. oversight of Venezuela could last years.
New video shows the Coast Guard in a high seas pursuit, closing in on a tanker in the North Atlantic accused of transporting sanctioned Venezuelan oil. U.S. forces seizing the vessel known as the Battah 1 after it eluded capture for weeks. During the pursuit, the ship was renamed the Marinera and claimed by Russia, its crew painting a Russian flag on it. The Kremlin now demanding the safe return of that crew.
This was a Venezuelan shadow fleet vessel that has transported sanctioned oil, and the United States of America, under this president, is not going to tolerate that.
In a separate operation, the Coast Guard seizing another vessel tied to Venezuela's illicit oil trade near the Caribbean. U.S. forces rappelling onto the deck of the Sophia, fanning out to take control. The Trump administration says it's part of a broader strategy to control Venezuela. Vice President J.D. Vance says the oil is key, but says this approach is different than what the U.S. did in Iraq.
This is not Iraq. This is not 7,000 miles away. This is in our neighborhood. If we cannot follow the basic principle, which has been a cornerstone of American foreign policy for 200 years, that we control our neighborhood, a lot of bad people are going to take advantage of it.
Now, for the first time since capturing Venezuelan dictator Nicolas Maduro, the Trump administration is laying out a three-part plan for Venezuela's future and says it intends to control Venezuelan oil sales indefinitely. Secretary of State Marco Rubio says step one is stabilization, which includes the sale of up to 50 million barrels of Venezuelan oil. The White House saying the U.S. will share in the profits. The second phase is recovery, which will open up Venezuela's oil market to American companies and others. And the final phase, transition, which remains unclear. Venezuelan officials now claim at least 100 people were killed during the U.S. raid to capture Maduro. In the meantime, more Republicans are pushing back against President Trump's effort to pressure Denmark, a NATO ally, into handing over Greenland. Senator Tom Tillis attacking Trump aide Stephen Miller for recently claiming that it's obvious Greenland should be part of the U.S.
Turning around and making insane comments about how it is our right to have territory owned by the Kingdom of Denmark. Folks, amateur hour is over.
The U.S. recognized Danish sovereignty over Greenland more than a century ago. And while treaties allow the U.S. to operate military bases there, they do not give the U.S. ownership. House Speaker Mike Johnson says taking Greenland by force is not a possibility.
I don't think anybody's seriously considering that. And in the Congress, we're certainly not.
Secretary of State Marco Rubio plans to meet with Danish officials next week. Hannah.
Christiane, thank you. President Trump is now calling for a 50% increase in defense spending. Trump posted, "For the good of our country, especially in these very troubled and dangerous times, our military budget for the year 2027 should not be $1 trillion, but rather $1.5 trillion. This will allow us to build the dream military that we have long been entitled to." He says tariffs can help pay for it.
With a lot of difficult news these days, there's a new trend bringing a smile to people's faces. So-called duck libraries are popping up across New York City. It all started with someone leaving small plastic ducks in random places to bring joy to people walking by. Now, duck libraries are showing up, and they're little boxes where people are asked to take a duck and leave a duck. The trend has gone international with these libraries now showing up in Europe.
I'm going to keep an eye out for those. What a fun idea. Time now for your Thursday weather.
Good morning. Pacific storm starting to spread in the middle of the country. Could have some showers and thunderstorms in the plains today. Still some rain and mountain snow in the northwest, going into the Rockies, warming into the east. We're watching heavy downpours across parts of Kansas, Oklahoma, into Missouri. That could get close to Chicago later in the evening. Heads to the east coast on Friday, but look at the severe weather. First real outbreak of the season. Parts of Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, and also into Tennessee. Some damaging winds, large hail, even an isolated tornado. That's on Friday. I'm ABC News meteorologist Lee Goldberg.
Coming up, another major cruise line banning children.
But first, a new push to lower home prices by blocking investment firms from buying houses.
And later in the NFL, quarterback Trevor Lawrence tries to explain what was happening to him at this bar. Back now with the escalating protests across Iran amid growing anger about the economy. Demonstrations now in their 12th day, and authorities are threatening to intensify their crackdown. At least 38 people have reportedly been killed and thousands arrested.
Now to the housing market and President Trump's plan to bring down home prices. Some on Wall Street may not like the idea.
This morning, a potential game changer in the housing market. President Trump says he wants to slam the door on Wall Street investors buying single-family homes.
Increasingly over the last 4 or 5 years, I think America is short essentially like 4 million homes, and that's translating into real affordability issues.
Trump announcing plans to ban institutional investors from snatching up real estate and driving up housing prices, saying for a very long time, buying and owning a home was considered the pinnacle of the American dream. That American dream is increasingly out of reach for far too many people. Wall Street said to be blindsided by Trump's move. Companies like Blackstone and other major landlords seeing their stock prices drop. Trump pushing Congress to approve the ban, saying people live in homes, not corporations. Senator Chuck Schumer responding, saying Senate Democrats tried to do this last year, Republicans blocked it. At the heart of the issue, affordability for first-time homebuyers. The median price of an existing home in the U.S. now tops $400,000 with mortgage rates near 6%. But critics say large investors own just 1% to 3% of single-family homes. And they say Trump's proposal does not address other big issues like the shortage of new building projects and skyrocketing construction costs.
We're talking about a really small share of purchase activity and an even smaller share of the overall housing stock when it comes to these large institutional investors.
Trump says he plans to lay out more housing and affordability proposals in the coming weeks.
Another major cruise line is telling passengers to leave their kids behind. Oceania Cruises is changing to adults-only reservations. The company says it made the switch after customers said they enjoy traveling with like-minded adults.
Coming up, a bridge under construction collapses.
Also ahead, Health Secretary Robert Kennedy is flipping the food pyramid, the new dietary guidelines on meat and alcohol.
We're back with this bridge collapse in West Virginia. Multiple people falling into the Wheeling Creek. One worker was seriously injured. 2 others suffered non-life-threatening injuries. A witness describing a loud, thunderous boom. The bridge was being replaced.
Another major blow to local journalism. Pittsburgh is set to become the biggest major city without a major newspaper. The Pittsburgh Post-Gazette says it's shutting down this spring because of labor costs. The paper dates back to 1786.
Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is flipping the food pyramid. His new dietary guidelines include new guidance on alcohol. Here's ABC's Andrea Fujii.
The Trump administration has flipped the food pyramid, prioritizing protein and healthy fats and minimizing grains while urging Americans to avoid sugar and highly processed food. Changes Health Secretary Robert Kennedy says will make America healthy again.
We are ending the war on saturated fats.
It's a move that reverses decades of nutritional precedent. Previous recommendations suggested avoiding full-fat foods. Now the guidelines endorse high-fat foods like red meat, whole milk, and cheese, and using olive oil, beef tallow, and butter as cooking oils.
Whether they are fresh, frozen, canned, or dried. we are finally putting real food back at the center of the American diet.
The American Medical Association applauding the new guidelines it says are spotlighting the highly processed foods, sugar-sweetened beverages, and excess sodium that fuel heart disease, diabetes, obesity, and other chronic illnesses. But too much saturated fat concerns some doctors.
We know it in reality. Patients who have a higher consumption of fatty foods and saturated fat have an increased risk of heart attacks and strokes, as opposed to unsaturated fats that come from things like olive oil and seed oils.
Another change, new alcohol guidelines. Previously, 2 or fewer drinks per day were advised for men and less for women. Now, there's no set amount listed in the guidelines. The Trump administration, while promoting moderation, acknowledges alcohol can be helpful in social situations.
So alcohol is a social lubricant that brings people together. In the best case scenario, I don't think you should drink alcohol, but it does allow people an excuse to bond and socialize.
Critics say the new guidance ignores the link between alcohol and health issues, including increased cancer risk. The new guidelines will impact nutritional programs nationwide, including what's served in public schools. Updated guidelines are released every 5 years. Sophie, Hannah.
Coming up, the grocery bag being sold for $50,000.
Plus, NFL star Trevor Lawrence describes being swatted by this fan. Time to check the pulse. We begin with a bag from Trader Joe's fetching big money.
Yeah, a reusable $3 tote bag has touched off a cultural phenomenon. The totes are now listed on eBay for up to $50,000. The bags have been spotted around the globe. They're often associated with American values. Next, a man taking legal action accusing a restaurant of ruining his marriage.
So the restaurant shot a promotional video that included the man having dinner. The restaurant posted that video online. Turns out the man was eating dinner with someone other than his wife. His wife saw the video and wants a divorce. The man is suing, claiming the restaurant recorded him without his consent. Next, Jacksonville Jaguars quarterback Trevor Lawrence discussing his recent visit to a bar.
Yeah, his team is preparing for Sunday's playoff game, but everyone's talking about this video showing Lawrence being swatted 5 times by a woman at a bar after last weekend's win. Lawrence says they were just having fun.
I did not think that was going to happen, so, but it was interesting. I have phones now, record everything, so there you go.
You didn't think you were going to get swatted, or you didn't think it was going to get set?
Didn't think it was going to get filmed. I mean, I knew I was going to get squatted. She didn't just pick me up. It'd be crazy. It'd be crazy.
That strong fan named Natasha is a Navy veteran. And finally, music to your ears, coming from your mouth.
It's this new lollipop embedded with songs. The lollipop star is real candy that plays music as you eat it. It works with bone conduction technology hidden inside the stick.
The lollipop comes in a variety of flavors, and it will cost about $9 when it hits the market.
What an interesting idea.
I want to try it.
Me too. Top headlines next.
Checking more top stories, thousands of protesters poured into the streets of Minneapolis after a woman was shot and killed by an immigration agent. The agent opened fire as the woman, identified as local resident Renee Good, tried to drive away. The Trump administration says the agent was acting in self-defense, but local officials and witnesses reject that claim.
On Capitol Hill, the House is set to vote today on whether to extend Obamacare subsidies for 3 years. 9 Republicans broke ranks with their party by supporting a motion to force the vote. The tax credits just expired, and millions of Americans are seeing their health premiums soar.
Hockey's Mr. Goalie Glenn Hall has died. During a 20-year career, he started 502 consecutive games, which is still considered one of sport's most untouchable records. Hall won the Stanley Cup in 1961 with the Blackhawks. He was 94.
Today's weather: rain for the Northwest and mountain snow for Washington to Colorado. Rain also in much of the plains, warm and dry across the east.
And finally, getting dogs in need of a home adopted.
Here's Danny New.
A New Yorker on a mission to help shelter dogs get adopted thanks to some useful backpacking trips.
There are people who shove their face into this dog, and it's heartwarming because I can see something shift in them in real time.
Since the summertime, once a week,
you want to go for a ride?
Brian Reesberg here has been taking out dogs, usually from Best Friends Animal Society, to give them 1, a relaxing day away from the shelter, and 2, enough attention online to get adopted more quickly.
All these dogs within 48 hours the videos would go viral and they would get adopted, and people were just like going crazy for it.
Of course, it helps that Brian already had millions of followers on social media, thanks to a decade of making videos with his insanely adorable corgi, Maxine. Here they are on the Jumbotron at a Brooklyn Nets game, and the key is that backpack, which Brian helped design so he could take Maxine on the subway. Per the MTA, you need to transport them in a secure bag.
We launched it on Maxine's 6th birthday, which was December 15th, 2021, and sold out in 4 minutes. People went nuts for it.
Now Brian is using that backpack called Maxine 1 to transport dogs to the park or to get treats while showcasing how loving they can be to potential adopters. Recently, he even expanded to South Florida, taking Amber here from Miami-Dade Animal Services on a little beach trip. In fact, Brian says he is now 13 for 13 on helping the dog you see in the video get adopted. One commenter writing, "Thank you for using your platform to encourage people to adopt shelter dogs."
I've never in my life experienced anything like the reaction to these backpack videos, and it's quite honestly changed my life.
So guys, that is part of the shelter's Adventure Buddy program where you can take out dogs for the day. Many shelters across the country will even let you just take them out for a walk if you'd like, if you want to look into it.
Have a great day, everyone.